We Make Movies Film Geeks podcast, episode number 97. Welcome to the We Make Movies podcast, making the world a better place, one film at a time. And now, here are your hosts, three aspiring sellouts, Chad, Michelle, and Garrett. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the We Make Movies Film Geeks podcast. Podcast is all about how to get your movie made, how to get it seen by other people, and how to get it awesome. I'm your host, as always, Garrett Robinson. With me, also, as always, faithful co-host Chad Kukahiko. Once again, intro slightly inaccurate today. We do not have Michelle with us this week. She's in New York doing some cool conference something or other. It's like whatever. And then, Chad, do you want to handle the introduction of our guest, or do you want to read Anthony's bio at the later? How do we want to do this?
Let's. Today on this show we have Anthony Ferraro. We'll discuss a little bit more about who he is and what he's about. The second half of the show is basically going to be dedicated to him and his awesome project, Galactic Galaxy. But in the meantime, Anthony, feel free to join us as we discuss things in the news.
Hi and welcome, by the way.
Hi and welcome.
Pleasure to be here, gentlemen.
And by the way, I just want to clarify, the second half of the show is going to be dedicated to Anthony, and that we are going to be talking about his film project. Not dedicated to him, like dedicated to his memory. He's still here. You can see him.
And you'll see it all. You'll see everything. But by the way, if you're watching this right now on YouTube and it's live, if it's Sunday afternoon, and you're watching this live, appears that comments are disabled now on the YouTube channel. We don't know why. So in the meantime, feel free to join us on Twitter. Use the hashtag WeMakeMovies, and we'll be able to respond to your questions, comments, etc.
Oh, YouTube. You're always doing stuff.
You silly YouTube.
You silly YouTube. All right, well, let's get straight into the general news, main news topics for the week. I will start off with my geekiness. So we were told that we were not going to be getting any more Star Wars trailers before the release of the film, and for once, I am so happy to have been lied to, because a new international trailer dropped this week. It dropped for Japan, and has a metric crap ton of new footage that has not been in any trailers that came before. And fortunately for English-speaking viewers like me, it wasn't released in like some sort of dubbed version. It was released in English with Japanese subtitles. So we got to fully enjoy it. And I don't know exactly what the thinking was behind saying we're not doing any more trailers and then like doing another trailer. Like only I don't know. It's not very long since they announced that there wouldn't be any more. Again, not complaining. I want to say that I'm very, very happy about it, and it's fed obviously the entire internet has just been erupting in conspiracy theories, going frame by frame, and discussing every single thing that appears in the trailer. And the timing is very weird, considering that this whole Jar Jar Binks conspiracy blew up at the same time. You guys hear about this?
No, I did not hear. What was the Jar Jar Binks? I haven't heard any conspiracies.
Oh my God! Okay, this is gonna blow your frickin' mind. It's all bullshit, obviously. But this has become, in a very short space of time, like just in a couple of days, one of the top 20 most popular posts on Reddit ever. And a Reddit user posted a whole fan theory breakdown about how Jar Jar Binks is the big bad, not Emperor Palpatine. Like Emperor Palpatine was his apprentice. And I mean, it's like George Lucas was reached for a statement and he said it's total bullshit. But like if you read the theory, you're like, but is it? Was it like?
I somehow doubt if I read that theory, that will be my response.
That it's all bullshit.
Well, it doesn't.
I love the idea of it, though.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I know Jar Jar. Ahmed Best is a stomper.
Yes,
he's an old stomper. So he's, and he's, I
Oh
don't see.
no,
I
but
don't see.
Chad, you'll particularly love this detail. When this fan theory was released and blew up and became like the most viral thing on the entire internet, he tweeted,
Of course
"It's
he did.
always so nice when the fans realize something that's been going on behind the scenes, no matter how many years it takes." I think he was fucking with us.
I think he was totally fucking with everybody. I can guarantee you that's totally an Ahmed thing to do.
It
No, it's
does make
real.
for an interesting read, though. It's also backed up by lots of video evidence. People have been going back through the original trilogy and pointing out like all of these things. The timing couldn't have been better. The guy who posted it has done a few interviews and everything like that. For one thing, he's not J.J. Abrams, and in no way that anybody can tell is he at all associated with Disney or Lucasfilm or any company associated with the film. But the timing does seem kind of insane with the movie, the new movie coming out in just a couple of months. Have you guys got your tickets already?
Yeah,
I
do
got
not.
one. I got mine for Sun. I went and I thought I was being smart. I couldn't get them until Sunday.
I got mine on Thursday night. It's releasing. I have a Thursday night 10 p.m. showing.
Wow.
I don't know what the deal
Yeah.
is.
Good.
Like,
You must
if
have been online like right when it.
Oh, I was definitely, yeah, we talked about it on the last show we did, and I got off the show and went and ordered my, no, it was releasing the next day. I woke up the next morning and we ordered our tickets.
There you go.
Well,
But I didn't get
I
in.
was watching a podcast and the guy was like, "I just got my tickets," and I was like, "Oh no, I don't have my ticket," and I went, and I couldn't get them till Sunday.
Yeah, I wanted the marathon, but apparently the marathon sold out in 25 minutes. There are theaters doing, yeah,
Wow.
there are theaters doing the marathon of all 6 of the films before, and then going right into 7,
Wow.
so. The funny thing is, though, is that I'll be seeing the movie before the people in the marathon. Like, mine starts before theirs does after the whole marathon and everything like that. So,
Right.
Are
so
you going
that's,
to the 3D one?
no, I don't think so. I don't remember now, actually.
Well, but that's the thing is like I got the tickets for the big 3D IMAX one,
Mm-hmm.
and in my past experience with those big movies, I always prefer the 2D one in
Yeah.
the theater.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know why because of IMAX and bigger is maybe I don't know. So I hope I don't regret that.
I think that I'm going to see it in 2D first, just because I want to give it every possible chance of being as good as I hope it is. And if I'm sure, I'm reasonably certain that I'm going to see it again the next day, even if I don't like it. Even if I'm not blown away by it, if I don't actively dislike it, I've already promised like my daughter that I'm going to take her to see it either the next day or sometime on the weekend or something like that. And then I might try 3D. I don't know. We'll see. If I hear the 3D is really good, I'll definitely check it out because hey, maybe it will be.
I'm gonna move on if that's okay. If you don't mind.
I don't know if I'm fully. I don't know if I'm spent yet. I don't know if I've finished. I think.
I mean, I did read something where I think this morning where I think it was like there's 16 new little tidbits in that new trailer.
Yeah. I could go on and on about them, but we
exciting.
We probably should move on.
I don't have all afternoon, unfortunately. I have something to do immediately after this. So.
Okay. All right. Go, Chad.
Anyway, the New York Television Festival was actually a few weeks ago. Since it's been so long since we've had a show, the last couple of weeks we were unable to do. And by the way, I'm not going to be here next week. I'm shooting film next weekend, so I will be unavailable.
Quick, sound effects.
Wah, 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 wah. And there, I just did it for you. Anyway, the New York... I already did it. The New York Television Festival was a couple weeks ago, and it really seems to be picking up momentum. According to their press release, 20 different development deals were closed at this year's festival, and it's since it started back in 2007, so that's been like 8 years.
How many were comic book themed?
Oh, I don't know. They just announced the names of the companies who they didn't announce the shows. Anyway, it was when they started in 2007, they only had the one development deal. So that's, this is pretty substantial growth, 8 years, 20 deals. The deals were handed out by cable companies and production companies, no direct development deals by major networks, but that's not really that shocking. The networks seem to be circling the wagons nowadays. Of course, I'm sure that that of all the production companies, they're going to go ahead and shop you probably 99% of those 20 shows out at the networks because the money is clearly just too good not to do that. But that's not the important thing to note. What is interesting is that television festivals are starting to get serious for a variety of reasons. I doubt they'll ever be as big as Sundance, but it's interesting to watch their growth, and I'm curious how big they're going to get.
It's so weird to me. Like we're in such a freaking crazy time where, like, as we chant practically, like almost religiously on this show, like big television is on the way out. You know, like the traditional network model and all that sort of shit is in many ways dying. And I guess these aren't really necessarily contradictory, but it's happening at the same time that we're getting so many cool things happening in television, so many groundbreaking shows. Of course, most of those groundbreaking shows aren't happening in the traditional network space.
Right.
They're not on NBC, you know.
Right.
Anyway, I just
cable, digital. Yeah, it is interesting. And actually, if you think about it, like I used to think it didn't make any sense that both things would be happening at the same time. But the more I look at it, the more I think that it does make sense that both are happening at the same time because of sort of the value and the fracturing of the human eyeball. You know what I mean? Like that we have gone from being every night 99% of us watching 3 networks over the course of 10, 15 years, going from that to watching millions. I mean, at least tens of 15, whatever, thousands and thousands and thousands of different things. It's not even channels anymore. You know what I mean? Some people are just watching YouTube videos. A lot of kids are just watching YouTube videos.
Well, it's really becoming, you know, what people talk about, but it's really becoming true where content is king.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have cable, but if there's some great show on TV,
right,
I'll probably be a year behind, but I'll purchase it and watch and stream all the episodes.
Yeah. So it makes sense, actually, if you think about it, because of that, because content has become so important, and because these old models, and it's not that the models it's not that TV is dead. It's just that the way that they built that industry for decades is unviable.
It's the business end of it, the monetization of it that's no longer working. And, you know, like, obviously YouTube sees the writing on that wall, too, with YouTube Red, which I'm actually going to switch out my second segment and talk about that.
Oh, good. I'm curious to hear about that.
Yeah.
So we should probably move on then, because I kind of want to hear about that.
All right, fine. Well, let's do it. I'm just going to say very briefly the topic of my of the segment that I was originally going to do. Kamikaze, kind of disappointing this year. I was
there.
Yeah, I went with a buddy of mine, Matt Hunt, and which kind of stank because he's from Seattle and he came all the way down. He got some
brother Mike.
That old joke.
I mean, the one thing that was interesting to me that I was there the wrong day, because I guess Grant Morrison now is going to be the editor of Heavy Metal.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which that has not been great since like the 80s, but I guess he's taking that over like very soon. And he was there, but I didn't get a chance not to talk to him, but just to hear what he had to say about that.
Oh, cool. Huh. But yeah, overall, just sort of, and we both, like, for one thing, they put it in a smaller space than it was last year. Then they split the space in 2, and the 2 spaces were separated by like a 10-minute walk. Yeah. And then I think that they just didn't stop selling tickets this year because it was massively overcrowded. So.
Oh no.
Yeah, but that's just a brief summary. I want to talk about let me talk about YouTube Red. So. We mentioned this on the show already, but for anybody who didn't hear that, YouTube is now offering a paid option where everything will be exactly the same as it's always been for the majority of people. But if you want to, you can elect to pay $10 a month and never see another advertisement on YouTube again. No pre-roll, no ad hovering around here at the bottom of the screen, and no ads on the sides of the videos. Just ad-free YouTube completely. And the money that you pay is going to be divided between YouTube itself, obviously, and whichever creators you choose to spend your time with. And the more time you spend with your creators, the more they'll get. And it's just divided up amongst all of the videos that you watch based on the amount of time that you spend watching them. So long form content on YouTube suddenly going to have like a nice boost in this direction. And no matter what, like based on all of the data anybody has been able to put together, creators are going to benefit from this tremendously. Like they're going to be getting much more money than they get from ads, because YouTube viewers, all but the craziest power YouTube viewers who spend like 16 hours a day on YouTube, no other YouTube viewer comes even close to generating like $5 of ad revenue from watching YouTube videos, right? So and that's $5 of ad revenue, period, which gets split between YouTube and the creator. Wow. So now, if they're paying $10 a month, and half of that is going to YouTube, and then half is going to the creator, it's going to be a huge benefit to creators. But there is some like what do you want to call it, controversy, which I made a video about on my own personal YouTube channel, sort of saying that I think people are being really stupid about it, which is that people are like, they have problems with it, because if you don't accept YouTube Red, like if you don't accept the new terms of service which include YouTube Red, your videos will be made private. Like you can't have a channel unless you're okay with YouTube Red. Now, like I said, for creators, YouTube Red is a good thing, but some creators are pissed off that Google did this without asking them, and I'm just sort of like, they're also upset that they can't opt out of it if they want to, like disallow YouTube Red on their channels, but that also doesn't make sense to me, because
I hate money.
Yeah, well that too, but also like YouTube can't offer YouTube Red to subscribers unless they get everything. It's like, hi, I want to join up and sign up for YouTube Red, and then let's say I sign up and I pay for YouTube Red, and then the one channel that I watch every single video religiously, the Vlogbrothers, they opt out of YouTube Red. Just because they're like, I don't know how this is going to shake out. This is new. This is different. The Vlogbrothers themselves are actually very excited about this. They wouldn't do it. But if they had opted out because of just that natural human reaction of, new, different, scary, grog, hate fire, like, then I would be paying $10 a month, and the only channel that I watch every single video they put out, I'd be seeing ads on it anyway. So YouTube didn't make that option available. They were like, no, you take Red or not. It's a kind of a stupid controversy in my mind, and like all controversies that have happened, every time YouTube changes something, it'll fade away into obscurity. But the cool new thing is that they are starting new exclusive YouTube content that is only going to be accessible to YouTube Red subscribers, and these are actual like shows, like shows.
See, that's what I was going to see when you mentioned the long form. I was about to ask you, like, what's your evidence? That is the only thing that I could, because the thing is if you have a really good show, like let's say they had Mr. Robot, right? I would pay $10 a month to see Mr. Robot. I'll be honest, just to see fucking Mr. Robot, because I can't. It's on USA, right? And I can't. Like, there's no, except for Twitch or whatever that. Well,
a lot of times you can get those shows on Amazon. You can subscribe as they're happening.
You mean Amazon Prime?
Yeah.
Oh,
interesting.
I have Amazon Prime. I didn't even look.
I have like like Walking Dead. Like I subscribe as it's you get it. But then it's kind of funny because then you end up paying way more than you would for cable, but
$10 a month,
depending on how many shows you watch. But that's the thing, is like people.
But I prefer having that option.
Yeah, but that's going to reduce the number of shows people watch, and then some shows are going to struggle, and it's all going to sort of sort itself out in the wash. But like I know for certain, not because of like whatever, like online friendship or whatever, but because he announced it on his channel, that YouTube went to Hank Green and they were like, "Do you want to do a YouTube Red show? You say the word, we'll snap our fingers and say go." And he said no. Because one, he didn't think he had an idea for a show that he like really wanted to devote all his time to. Two, he's already busy with all the stuff that he's like currently doing. Like he just started a brand new international convention this year. And then three, he isn't sure that he wants to create content that is like exclusive. Like only YouTube Red subscribers will be able to watch. Although he said very clearly, like, I don't want to disparage anybody else who is doing that, because there are lots of people who are friends of his and stuff. But he isn't sure that he wants to do that. He might in the future, but not right now. So you could have. You are going to have a bunch of really big YouTubers who already have audiences of 5 million people, 10 million people, 50 million people who YouTube approaches and says, do you want to do a show for YouTube Red, paid, like a full paid show that like people are going to be paying money every month and help fund this show? And I think that the YouTubers are going to be like, fuck yes, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, because they'll be able to do. It won't be like what they're doing, what they tried to do on TV, and like say, hey, come and do a show on TV. We're gonna run it. They'll be able to do it their way. YouTube will just give them leeway to basically do whatever the hell they want.
But it's a very different thing. Like, how good would those shows be? I mean, it's one thing to be like, hey, I'm this personality, check me out, waka waka, than to be like, okay, here's like a scripted show. You know what I mean? Like.
That ill-fated PewDiePie video. Waka waka. Sorry, carry on.
Some will be able to do well at it, and some will not. I mean, I think if they're smart, they'll try to, especially if it's going to be a long form thing. I mean, Kendall, my girlfriend, one of the first gigs that she did for YouTube was for the Rhett and Link show. I guess it was a couple of years ago. Basically YouTube reached out to them and said, hey, we want you guys to do a whole season of a half-hour show. So do 12 episodes of a half-hour show. You can chop it up however you want and also release the content on your channel. But they paid for it. YouTube paid for it. So then Kendall was the production coordinator, and she helped do a bunch of different things on those 12 different episodes.
Right.
And it was an interesting, like they had to kind of figure it out themselves. But they didn't have a ton of dough either. But it was a full half-hour show. It had different segments. It was really fun actually. And it was like a variety show. So it came back and forth to them talking like they normally do on their they have this morning show. But it was a lot more than that, and with a lot of cool content, a lot of animated stuff. It was cool, and I thought it was pretty well done actually.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what comes out of it, and I'm really interested to see what new opportunities it's going to provide for people. Like, is YouTube going to start reaching out to people? Like, let's say this or next year my channel hits 100,000 subscribers. Am I going to be able to approach YouTube? Like, would they be interested? Will people then be able to like pitch ideas, or would people theoretically be able to pitch ideas from nothing? Just go like, here's my idea, and I don't have a YouTube channel. I don't already have the subscribers. Is YouTube going to do that, or are they going to do? I think it makes more sense if they find people. It's like, you have 100,000, 500,000, 5 million subscribers.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Here's the budget of show. Yeah, like
that's more what they do. That's more what traditionally that's more what they do, and I don't see them reaching out. I mean, the thing is that they have yet to pull off a full show. You know what I mean? Everybody else out there has a show. Even freaking Amazon Prime has a show.
Those shows are good too.
Yeah. But they have. I mean, not until Transparent did they have one that was really big that hit that made a lot of noise. And USA now with Mr. Robot, they have these other things that like our moms and stuff will watch. Stuff that it's more syndicated and stuff. But they haven't had their own show. Now YouTube, for all their money, and they make an obscene amount of money, for all of it, they have yet to have an actual show hit. And this sounds like it could be the one thing that could finally give them a good show.
I'm so excited to see what's going to happen, and I really I hope that they do create some content that's a little bit more traditional, that's like a little bit more like, like great TV shows that we'd like to watch. But I also hope that they create a space where we get a new kind of show that we like one of those things that we didn't even know could be a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't even know what I like about this, but I like it and it's amazing, and I've never seen anything like it before. And that is also the sort of thing that happens on YouTube all the time.
But I wonder if there's like not a stigma, but if if you have like these show creators that are doing shows on Amazon or on Netflix or whatever, if they're reluctant to go onto YouTube because YouTube has kind of established itself as kind of like it's open to everybody. You know what I mean? So I wonder if there's sort of like
I think
a
it's too
preconceived
much.
thing where it's like I have this great show, but do I want to put it? Because Vimeo is starting to have some pretty big shows now too, and Vimeo has a little higher profile, I
Are
guess,
they
than
though?
YouTube. Yeah, I mean
Are they like
that
I'm not?
Con Man show just went on Vimeo, and then that one Vimeo show, I forget the name of it, got bought by HBO.
Yeah, but and we actually talked about that on the show. Are they becoming an incubator for bigger distribution sources? That's the question. Like, I don't know if YouTube obviously has tons of videos, individual videos that will go up and get hundreds of millions. Most of them are music videos, to be honest. But they don't have a show that people will go to. And I don't think, just to answer your first concern, I think it's way too much of the Wild West right now for people to really get caught up on stigmas so much. I mean, anybody who is getting caught up on these stigmas and whatnot, they're from the olden times, and they're going to miss out. But I think that anybody who and I don't think the audience is going to give two shits either.
No.
If there's a really good show anywhere that they like and they want to watch that show, they're not going to care where it is.
And that they know how to watch in a manner that is not unfamiliar to them, or like, because like the idea that's kind of one of the things about Vimeo, right? Like, if you share a link to Vimeo, if you embed it on your own site, that's fine. But if people like follow, I've had that problem before, and I think that they've made it better now. But like, I gave somebody a link to a Vimeo page, and they had to log in to watch it, and it was just like they were like,
right.
No, I don't care. So it's gonna depend, and we're gonna have to see how it all shakes out, and we should probably move on because we can talk about this forever, I know, but yeah.
So Jessica Jones trailer came out a couple days ago. It looks really good. It looks dark. It looks really, really good. It clearly covers some of the exceptionally dark stuff from the comic series. I actually, full disclosure, I've only recently read some of the comic book series. I'm a big fan of Netflix, as you can tell, and a huge fan of the Daredevil show that they had. So
good. So good, that show.
Yeah, so good. I watched it twice already. But if you don't mind having if you want to go into it blind, do not click on the link that I'm going to include the trailer, because the trailer tells you a fair amount. Like, you can tell a fair amount about what this series will cover. If you don't want to know, if you just want to go to it blind, the series comes out November 20th, so it's very soon. I've taken that day off of work, by the way, but we're and completely told them why, so they're totally cool with it. But I'm gonna include the link to the trailer. Check it out. If you want to go into the show blind, don't check it out, because there's a lot of cool stuff. Anyway, so yeah, looks good.
Huzzah. I so can't wait for that show. It's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, and now we will get into the main. That sentence failed on lunch. Now we will get into the main portion of the show. So, Chad, why don't you take over?
So, for all of you who don't know Anthony, oh shoot, I just realized something, that I have the old bio here. If you don't mind me.
That's fine.
Hold on. I'm gonna do a super quick.
I'm just buying time. Go.
I will find it. Okay, I found the short one. So Anthony was born and raised in Schenectady, New York. He went to college in Manhattan for acting, received a master's in directing from RADA, King's College in London. Then he worked in theater, made music videos with the House of Borax in the 90s, most notably Ben Folds 5, Bracket, and the Del Rubio Triplets. Triples. You wrote triples. Triplets.
Did I?
Yes, it's fine. In 1999, he created a series of B&W clown films, black and white clown films, but that's a whole other story, which I'm sure we'll get into.
What's happening there, Satan?
In the 2000s, wrote and directed 2 Mumblecore features, many shorts, and was a producer-editor at Al Gore's Current TV. So please put your virtual hands together and welcome Mr. Anthony Ferraro. Yay!
We've got a sound for that.
Oh, there you go. Thank
Please sit down. Sit down.
So, why don't you? What the heck is that black and white clown films?
Well,
thing?
I did a series of clown films, and so in the theater, I ended up doing a lot of clown work. I took it very seriously, actually, which is funny. But I studied clown with this guy Philippe Gouillet in London, and I really got into to performance theater. And I did a clown show. I did it in the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. It did really well. Wow. New York Fringe did it. And then a friend of mine, this is a long answer, I'll make it quick. A friend of mine wanted to take photos. He was like, hey, dress up as the clown. This is when I was living in Manhattan. We'll go take some photos. So we went and took some photos, and what was fascinating about that was that nobody gave a shit. You know what I mean? Nobody was like, I'm like dressed as a clown, like in the subway with like hundreds of people, and nobody looks at me. And it was like, and then we were like, huh. So then we got this was before video. We got a Bolex camera, 16 millimeter Bolex camera, and shot all these black and white films that are probably to this day is the one thing that in my past that I still go back to and share with people.
Interesting.
But if you go on YouTube, clowns, if you Google clown series and then Anthony Ferraro, you'll find them.
Awesome. You don't share your Mumblecore feature films? You're more interested in your...
Yeah, I don't know. Those were, those came out, I'm happy to show those to people, but yeah, they don't. I should probably get those on some kind of streaming service.
Yeah. Well, how did you...
Chad did not tell me about the clown films before we discussed bringing you on. I just want to say, not a fan of clowns, okay?
Well, I mean, it's not a yucca clown. It's
European clowning is very cool. Like, have you ever seen Slava's Snow Show?
That was the inspiration.
Really?
Actually. And I studied with the woman, the big fat clown on the side, like the comic relief clown in that show.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, but I studied with her. The show was actually inspired by that. And then
amazing show, Garrett. I'm not even kidding. Amazing. Would blow.
I don't know what it is, but I feel like you guys are talking another thing that I can't.
Have you ever been to any Cirque du Soleil show?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That's it. That's clown work, dude. All of that. I mean, just adding acrobatics and stuff, but all the stuff. Which shows have you seen? Do you remember?
Oh God, I saw a couple when I was a kid that like my dad got on like DVD or whatever, and I remember loving those. And then I've seen a bunch of ones. What have I seen recently? I don't know. I saw a couple on. I've seen two on two Vegas trips in the last few years, but they were sort of like we decided to go at the last minute, and I was
drunk.
Pretty drunk.
Okay.
Pretty drunk. Just being
I was like waiting for it to come out.
The coolest fucking thing ever, but it actually is.
Every single Cirque du Soleil show has like the clown, the main clown, pulls somebody up out of the audience. Every single one. That event is real clown work right there.
Cool.
Yeah. But sorry.
Yeah, actually, that's kind of a sore subject for me because I did audition for Cirque du Soleil.
Oh, did you?
Oh.
But
nice going, Chad.
No, but to get the clown gigs on those is a gazillion times more difficult than people have any idea.
Yeah. But that's the top.
I auditioned for Blue Man Group, and they're kind of in the clowning world.
Right.
And I didn't get.
Yeah, well, physical theater, performance theater. Yeah.
Right. Well, let me ask you a question. How did you get from Schenectady to RADA, and how was RADA?
RADA was pretty amazing. That was so I was in New York City, and I started off in theater. So I was doing theater, producing theater, making theater, and I ran a theater with a couple other people, and that was amazing. But about 10 years into it, I wasn't making a living, and you're like, well, what am I going to do? So sort of my last grasp was to make a theater career was to go to grad school, and so I went to RADA in London because I found that and this is information for everybody, that there's certain schools in the UK that accept the guaranteed student loans from the States.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, oh, wow, okay. And it's only 1 year for your master's over there, not 2.
Oh, wow.
So just sharing the knowledge, sharing the info.
And that wasn't so clearly it was via Manhattan. It wasn't you didn't go straight from or via New York City. Well, you didn't go straight from Schenectady to
Right. No, no.
City
I
Loop.
went to New York City from Schenectady.
That's great.
Because upstate New York, New York is that it doesn't make sense to go to L.A. It makes sense because New York City is a few hours away.
No, absolutely. I went to college in Boston, and I went to New
Yeah,
York.
yeah. There's a lot of
totally.
people from Boston I ran into in New York.
So
But I had a girlfriend that went to the Fashion Institute, to FIT,
Uh-huh.
and I went to visit her, and I was just like, "What the hell is going on here?" And I just never left. I just stayed I was in New York for like 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a fun, especially if like when you're in your 20s.
Oh my God, yeah, yeah.
The
Yeah.
best. It's like
I was a slash bartender, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
right,
So
right,
I was like,
right.
yeah.
So
What's
was all
a slash bartender?
Yeah,
actor
yeah.
slash bartender.
Actor slash bartender.
Oh, gotcha.
So
Now, if it was that's for young kids today, that would be a slash writer. But back in the 90s, it was a slash actor.
Right, yeah, right. I was an actor slash bartender as well when I lived.
Were you in the Stomp Show over there on Second Avenue?
13 performances before I hit the road, but yeah.
Because I used to bartend at a bar on 4th Street over there.
Oh, awesome. Oh, we probably went there. Anyway, how did you get the gig at Current? And were you there when Al Jazeera bought it? What?
No, I was Al Jazeera bought it afterwards.
Oh, okay.
I was in that office though. Basically, what happened is I was in New York and I needed to get out, and I moved to San Francisco. And all the work I had been doing in New York was these sort of short docs for not-for-profits, sort of like you have a school after school program, and Tide Soap is buying the instruments, so you do a little 5-minute video about the thing. So this is right before YouTube like blows up with like shows and content, because basically what started happening was the 5-minute video replaced what was traditionally the brochure, right? Like or the magazine article. So anyway, I was doing that. I get to San Francisco and I needed a job, and it just coincided with Current TV starting there. And when I applied, it just turned out it was a lucky thing that the content that I had to show from my reel was exactly what they were doing. This 5-minute sort of, I call them like pop docs, this magazine articles, if you will. And then so I slid right into that, and that was really an amazing experience. Because now in hindsight, it was more like I went to university, because all the young creative people there were amazing. And to this day, I don't think I've had, I mean, that was 5-6 years ago. To this day, I've not had one single job that was not from the people that I worked with there.
Oh, wow.
So, wow. Not one. Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
That's great.
All right, so I've been letting Chad hog the mic, because as I said, a lot of this stuff I feel very like out of touch with, and if I'd asked a question, it probably just would have been like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But now we're going to talk about Galactic.
Well, I never read Jessica Jones, so we're.
But now we're going to talk about Galactic Galaxy, and this is where Anthony, this is where I first became aware of you, is from that project, and like. Right off the bat, immediately loved it. So
thank you.
Tell us the origin story of that, where it came from.
Yeah, Galactic Galaxy. It's a sci-fi series, and what happened was I had done mumblecore movies. I did 2 of them, 2 features, but it wasn't really taking me to the next level creatively, professionally. And I had to be honest with myself, and it turns out like I was really inspired by like David Lynch and like Jim Jarmusch, especially Jim Jarmusch. And I was trying as a filmmaker to be Jim Jarmusch, and it turns out that really wasn't an authentic voice to me. It was like 30-something angst, and I was inspired by those movies and a lot of like Dogma 93, like Celebration and stuff. I was like, okay, I can do this. But it was they're good, and I'm proud of them. I would happily show them to you, but it wasn't me. You know what I mean? It wasn't it wasn't going to that next level of kind of like, oh, this is something special,
Yeah.
dare I say.
Yeah, so many people go through that phase where it's like, they do a lot of like early work and everything like that, and it's not bad. Like, it's good, and people like it and
Right,
everything. But
right.
then you can tell when they hit their stride, and it's something that is not only good and the audience likes it, but like you can almost feel that they feel like it's what they want to be doing and what they
Yeah,
should be
yeah,
doing.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm a year and a half into it, and it still is not, out in the world.
Right.
So it's like it's definitely something that I feel passionately about.
Right.
And the funny story that I've been telling is that about 5 years ago, I had some friends that were going to the Ren Fair, and I have a theater.
Oh, sorry. Was that not that wasn't the funny story yet? Sorry. Carry on.
No, so they were like, you should, I have a theater background. They're like, you should come along, and I was like, I was like, yeah, all right. So I go to the Ren Fair, and I just lose like New York, I just lose my goddamn mind. I'm just like, oh my God, right? So I go, and every year I'm working on the costumes, and I got like a whole thing, and I get into it, and it's like, I grew up a certain way, like, and like as far as like fantasy and sci-fi and all that, that's always what I want. Like Excalibur is like my favorite movie, the Borman one, and like, if it's got swords in it or space, like I'm there. But here I am trying to make Jim Jarmusch movies.
Right.
So it was like it didn't make sense. But then when I got into the Ren Fair thing and I started making costumes and stuff, and I was like, yeah. So when I got ready to do my next project, I was like, well, I'm just going to do fantasy, and then it became sci-fi, and then I was like, before I would write, because I'm an editor and a producer and a director and everything, so I kind of like, as a writer, sometimes that stifles me because I'm like, I'm going to set this in one room, and it's going to be daylight exteriors, and there's only going to be 3 people, and they wear contemporary clothes, and it's today, and sorry, this is a long answer. So that's where sci-fi comes from. Is where I was just like, well, whatever pops into my head, and that's how I ended up with like space werewolves and space discos.
How stoned were you when you wrote this?
Not at all. Not at all. But like high on like just saying, yeah, sure, okay, And it's like, so for me, like in world building, what's exciting for me in world building is not getting bogged down with all origin and the races and the backgrounds and the backstories. Like all that stuff is important and it's vital, but I prefer like having a ridiculous idea and then going backwards and justifying that.
So now, how did you go from that general, like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to do the fantasy and the sci-fi. Like, how did this specifically like go into a little bit more on that, because I always love hearing about
right. Okay, sure. So I've been a big fan of Joseph Campbell and the whole monomyth thing for like a long time, and I'm also into mystery novels. So I'm researching the monomyth, and I'm fascinated by the monomyth. I think most people know what that is at this point. The Star Wars is based on that, Matrix, just the hero's journey. Just kind of like there's this kind of universal story, right? Like, I want to change my life. I can't change my life. Here's an opportunity to change my life. No, I couldn't possibly. Okay, my house blew up. I have to, but I can't go it alone. Here's my friends. They're going to help me. This old guy, blah, blah, blah.
I wasn't familiar with it by that name, so if anybody's listening, you may also know it as the hero's journey or the hero with 1,000 faces.
Yeah.
The monomyth.
So I've been fascinated by that. So I just kind of thought as like a exercise to myself, because I think it's good to give yourself sort of homework, right? As I was like, all right, well, I'm going to just follow the hero's journey exactly and just see what happens to that. And then because I was into mystery novels and I started a couple of those, there's a very specific 12-chapter formula of what happens, how it progresses. So it was like 12 chapters, 12 episodes, hero's journey, put it together. And then, so the exercise was to create a story following within those guidelines. And then, so that's how the story evolved. It was like, I was just kind of imagine this character. And then because I knew, okay, now he has to meet an elder or somebody who's going to guide him. So then now I have a space wizard who's the custodian of the galaxy, right? and then the woman has to appear. So then I'm like, all right, well, I don't want it to be like a chick. I want it to be a strong female character, so I have the space trucker Pam Redcup, who's like the Han Solo character. And then as it progresses like this, and then as I need these characters to fulfill sort of the guidelines of this method of storytelling, that's how it evolved. And then at a certain point, it takes on a life of its own. And
so now, what you've said so far could have been the origin story of Star Wars, right? But I want to be very, very clear to anybody who's watching or listening that this is not that at all.
Right,
so, and I think that maybe the best way to do that is, do you think that you could tell a very brief, summarized version of what happens in the first installment of the series?
Well, yeah, in the first installment, the main character Fenn, he's an orphan, and he's in the space discos. So he's a junkie hanging out in the space discos.
Okay.
Right? And so I'm sure that conjures up images for people. And he's found by the space wizard Zero, who's the custodian of the galaxy. Fenn's had a little bit too much partying, and then the custodian of the galaxy finds him. Apparently he's been looking for him. And so he gives him this space dust. And he's like, well, I don't want to do the space dust, but he does the space dust. And then when he does the space dust, what happens is when you take the space dust is you see the celestial queen of the galaxy. So, I'm sorry, whenever I hear myself saying this stuff out loud,
This is exactly what I wanted people to get. Is like, right, this is not, yeah.
Right, so he communes with her, and she's like, you're my son, you got to save the galaxy. He's like, you're crazy. The old man is like, okay, so I'm here to take you with me. He's like, no, I can't do that. That's the part of the journey, like the resistance. And so the wizard fixes it so his space credits are no longer any good. So, of course, when he goes to buy more space alcohol, space drugs, he gets ejected from the club. And he's about to be blown into space, and that's where Pam Redcup shows up, because she's collecting spent disco cores, which she salvages, and then there's a lurking sort of ominous presence watching all this, and then that's when it ends.
I love that there's a disco core. Is it like the core of the disco ball? What is a disco core?
Well, see, that's what I was talking about earlier. That's a very good question, and right now, live on this show, I will figure that out. Because but that's honestly, like, that's how the process is for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's
but
like, it has to be something. So it's like that disco core. So what that is they pump a disco atmosphere into these into these clubs, and those cores are only good for about a week. They're kind of like soda canisters or kegs.
Okay.
And then so yeah, that's what. that's what.
And for anybody who thinks that this is like, just throwing some words out there, you should think these things through more. I want to point out that this is the foundation of your favorite science fiction series of all time. This is George Lucas going, all right, now Harrison Ford, you're going to say, she made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs, which is not a sentence in the English language. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
A parsec is not a time
at all.
Time.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I for some reason earlier I said Waka Waka. It's like, so like if I use this example, like all of a sudden we're going to a new planet, and I'm like, what's the planet name? And I'm like, it's the Waka Waka planet, right? It's a Fozzie Bear. But when we go to film it, it's the planet of Waka Waka. And then it's like, then that becomes like a thing, and it's like, and I really believe, like, and it's like, I would argue with people who get kind up about, because it's like I do, I say this before, like, I take the work very seriously, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not like, fuck this, like, whatever, like, I care, but it's like, I feel like this is the fun part for me, you know what I mean, to make this stuff up. And like you were saying earlier about, like, you can get totally, especially like because we make movies, right? It's like you can totally get bogged down by all this stuff that you think you have to do. It's like as long as you just keep moving forward.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's get a little bit serious and talk about the Kickstarter campaign. So when you start,
Indiegogo.
Sorry. I always
Sorry, Chad.
No,
what are we
but
getting?
That's,
What are we? Are we getting serious?
Yes, we're getting serious.
Yeah, I know. I'm scared.
So when you first started the Indiegogo campaign a few weeks ago, it had a super amazing start. Like you had 30% of your budget, more than 30% of your budget within the first 72 hours.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of drifted down since then. Right now, where we're at right now is you have a little over 2 days, so it's 50 some odd hours, and you're still just under 50%.
That's right. Yeah.
So what exactly is your plan? What are your, if you don't hit the, now since it's Indiegogo, you can opt to get the money anyway, so it's not like you're in danger of not getting that money. You can, so you, for all I know, you already have it. I don't know. So what is your plan, since I don't know what Indiegogo, because all the campaigns I've ever done in the past have all been Kickstarter. So either you hit your target and you get it all plus whatever you made on top of it, or you get nothing. So in a situation like this, you've asked for this amount of money, and you said you're going to make six episodes, right? With the 30.
Correct.
So is your plan to make 3 of the episodes with the whatever money you raise?
No. So what what does happen with Indiegogo is you get whatever you raise. They take 5%, and that if you hit your goal, that goes down, and then there's some fees in there. So basically, to do my 6 episodes was going to cost $30,000. So I set my goal for $30,000, and right now I'm on track to get about half of that. Hopefully a little bit more. I mean, people are still donating, which has been awesome.
Right.
So what I think, I don't want to have my plan B yet. I don't want to give up. But,
right.
But I mean, what I'll end up doing is the 12 episodes exist. But as I was saying, it's a hero's journey, so it's episodic. Each one leads into the other. In which case, I could have done 6, and that would be satisfying. So what I'll most likely end up doing is taking the money that I raise, in conjunction with this campaign. I've been working on a proof of concept short, which I think you saw. I don't know if you both saw it. And I added something to the beginning, the Celestial Space Queen that I mentioned earlier. I added a scene with her, so we're still working on that. So I'll release that to everybody as an exclusive download, and so that proof of concept, I'll finish that, and I'm doing so.
Oh, I'm terrible at it. Don't worry about it.
So what I'm going to do is probably take the episodes that I have and adapt them to 3-minute episodes and do 6 of those, which I should go back and say the way it's written now, the episodes are anywhere from like probably 6 to 10 minutes long. So I'll write 6 3-minute episodes, because can I talk more about the crowdfunding and
absolutely
the audience building?
Absolutely.
So what I've learned is that, so I started, I've had this conversation with Chad. I've started, and I want to publicly thank Chad. He's an awesome person to help with this stuff.
He's pretty much just an awesome person in general.
He's an amazing guy. So thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Oh, go on.
Your check is in the mail.
So when I started this, I started at 0. Like nobody knows nothing about anything, and I read a lot. I did a lot of homework. And so I'm just basically right now leaning on all my friends and family, and that's been awesome. But to build the show, I really need to I can't just do 2 episodes, because I need to build a subscriber base. And as I've been doing this, it's like anything else, I've kind of made online friendships with people that are doing this at the same time as me. And what I notice is the people that are raising like $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 for the shows are people that have established their show, they have an audience, and their audience wants more from them. And it's it's kind of like like YouTube Red, or it's like these people are saying, okay, we're going to contribute to the show because we want to see more. So I need to get to the next step for me is to create a series that has at least 6 episodes, if not more, that people can subscribe to and like, and then take it to the next level of where I try to get more money to do the 12.
Yeah.
But that I'll go to my subscriber base, not my friend and family base.
Awesome.
So you're going to take whatever you make, whether it's the full 30 or whatever you make, you're going to still make 6 episodes. They just might end up being shorter, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and it won't, and I'm, I just want to be transparent because obviously I could just say these are the 6 I was, nobody would know if it's the real 6 or not. Obviously, nobody's read the script, But this whole process, every time I've kind of had to adapt, it's actually made it better. Like if people do choose after hearing this to watch the trailer or the teaser, I guess we should mention it's an animated rotoscoped kind of look. And what happened was originally it wasn't that. It was supposed to be live action, but because budget was there was no way I'd be able to do that. Then it became like this cartoon animation thing, and I was like, well, that's actually better. It's more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then now, I have these 12, huge sort of saga operatic episodes that I really want to share with people, but maybe out of the gate, because my funds won't be what I needed, maybe just making 3-minute episodes to get out there could have more universal appeal, and it'll happen.
Great.
Awesome.
And then what is your goal for it? Like, where do you see it in like 4 years? Where do you see this show going?
Well, there's all the characters are super interesting. So I'm already working on adapting this script to like a graphic novel.
Cool.
Then,
that's great.
Yeah, and then like all the characters can be their own stories. So the custodian of the universe, like we could follow him, much like spin-off, I guess is the way. I want to build the universe out, build the audience, and then so in 4 or 5 years I just see this just keep expanding. The galactic galaxy, maybe a season is about the IF3, the sexy space vixens who are the smartest women in the universe.
But you see this staying as sort of a web series, or do you see this going on TV? Do you know what I'm saying? Would you prefer to have...
Oh, I see what you're saying. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we kind of were talking about that earlier. Like, I don't know anymore. It's like I originally imagined it as like like an Adult Swim or Netflix or something like that. But I don't know. It's just, you ever see that Kevin Spacey speech that he gives on New Media? It's a really great speech.
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it though.
But it's just kind of this thing where it's like, if you're watching it on a movie screen or a tablet or on your phone or whatever, it's like, I don't know. I think it's just getting it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's like I mean, I have like if it was up to me, I would want it to be probably like an Adult Swim type show.
Okay,
That'd be great.
Yeah. Well, I think we're actually pretty much out of time. But thank you so much. We're gonna jump into some community news.
Yes.
And then I spoke with you a while ago about if you had a thing to know that you wanted to share at the very end of the show. You can do that then. Garrett, do you want to take over the rate the show bit?
Yeah, so we'll do. So we'll end as always with the community news, and again, thanks a lot for coming on the show. I would love to.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We'd love to keep going on about it forever.
Let me say one other thing before we completely wrap. If you want more information on this, go to watchgalacticgalaxy.com, and if you want to give to it, click on the Indiegogo link there. There's also a button that says Fund. So it's watchgalacticgalaxy.com. Thank you very much. So go as you were.
And you get to see a spiffy video.
Yeah. And the only other thing I would just like to add to that is, like, some people, even if you can't contribute, like, it really helps me a lot if you just go there and share that link on your Facebook.
Only 2 days left. Just over 2 days left. 2.2. So, yeah, anything you can do.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Wait, it's
Tuesday afternoon, yeah?
56 hours.
There we go.
Yes.
All right. So now we will. We end as always with community news, and first we just like to ask you whether you're watching us live or listening afterwards on the audio feed. Please do head over to iTunes and rate the show. Ratings and reviews help other listeners discover us and help grow the community and make the show exponentially more awesome. We have the last rolling production fund reading, right? RPF.
That's right. We have the last, and it's at our new location, or rather our potentially temporary location, Mid-City Art Center at 1644 South La Cienega. It's on La Cienega, just a little bit south of or rather it's on Pico, La Cienega, just a little bit south of Pico, rather. And then afterwards, we've been going to Mandrake, which is a really cool bar. If you've never been to Mandrake, it's really cool, which is about a mile south. So this last workshop is the last of 3 semi-finalist readings. We already have 2 semi-finalists from each of the first 2 nights who have now moved on to become finalists. So there's 10 more scripts being read this Wednesday night, and then 2 of those will be chosen as finalists, and that we'll have the finals at the beginning of the new year.
Yes, so that's very exciting.
Yes.
So definitely come by and check that out. Check out the new location. And then finally, as always, We Make Movies is the only filmmaking community, so far as we know, that is supported by its community, and that happens through Patreon.com. If you don't know what Patreon is, it is a crowdfunding service, sort of like Kickstarter or Indiegogo, except instead of one big fundraising push, it is a sustained voluntary subscription that lets you support artists who do cool stuff that you like, who put it out for free. And it enables us to do all of the free events that We Make Movies puts on all the time, as well as actually fund movies made and decided upon by the group. So if you want to check that out, go to patreon.com/WeMakeMovies and check out all the perks and benefits you get for helping to support us.
Yes.
We will wrap up finally with things to know. I have been, I think I mentioned in our last show that I have been walking every single day. And while I walk, sometimes I want silence and sometimes I listen to music, but I have been listening to a lot of podcasts, including this one. I listen to us every time we put out a new episode. But I've also discovered this new podcast, which I discovered by the host who I sort of knew online. He asked me to interview on the show. And the interview was great. I really liked it a lot. So afterwards, I went to listen to my episode, obviously, when it came out. And it, sounded pretty much how I remembered it. So I went and I listened to the rest of the show. And it's a freaking good show. So it's another podcast to check out if you need more things to listen to. It is called Luke's Massive Storytelling Podcast Thing, and the host is Luke Condor with a K. So go check that out. You're going to enjoy it.
Awesome. My things to know is actually, believe it or not, sort of a plug for Garrett, because he just got a really cool new thing, which he could probably describe better. But he's got new book art for some of the books and they are really cool looking. So that's really cool. I'm also going to add that Shakespeare in the Sphere. I'm doing 2 projects these next 2 weekends, and we did a test just last night for Shakespeare in the Sphere, which is a VR Shakespeare piece. We're doing Othello. It's a pretty intense scene. I've been working with the actors really closely. In fact, immediately after this, I'm going to be working with them some more. And they're doing some amazing work. We were just on location. We did a little bit of a test just last night, and it's going to be amazing. I mean, the fight choreographer came in for the first time last night, and so I'm really excited. Keep your eyes peeled for that. Hopefully, it'll only be a few weeks before it's available for downloads. So check it out.
That's exciting. And then, Anthony, do you have anything you want people to know?
Just go to watchgalacticgalaxy.com and check out the Indiegogo link, please. And if you can't contribute, please just share the link.
Yeah, definitely share it around. If you're listening to the show, there's a pretty good chance that you're a geek like we are, and there's a pretty good chance that you like sci-fi, fantasy, that sort of thing. And if that's the case, you are gonna enjoy what you see, and you're gonna want you're probably gonna want to contribute, and if you can't, which could be understandable, you're probably gonna know other people who also want to and who can. So definitely go check it out.
Oh yeah, and then just as a final perk, I went to the Institute of Art and Olfaction and made a scent, gamma ray. So, come on, man.
Fantastic.
For cosplay and every day.
How very perky of you. See what I did there. All right, that's a good time for us to move swiftly out of towards the end of the show. Thank you very much for watching and or listening. I'm your host, Garrett Robinson. You can find me at garrettbrobinson.com or my new home on the internet, legendarybooks.net. Chad is at superfreako.com, and as we said, you can find Anthony at watchgalacticgalaxy.com. We'll see you next week, everybody. Goodbye.